Hey everybody, as we kick off the 2024-2025 ski season, I wanted to give you an update on the backcountry skiing gear that I'm going to be using going into this season, as well as some of the pieces that I added to my kit the end of last year that made a big difference in my springtime skiing objectives. If you are new here, my name is Jake Kaiser, and I'm a wannabe mountain athlete, and on the weekends you will find me exploring the mountains around Colorado and the surrounding states. My favorite way to summit a peak is with skis on my back and skiing down. So in the winter, and especially in the springtime, you will find me backcountry skiing and ski mountaineering. And today, let's talk about the gear that enables me to do this. As we get started, the first thing I need to talk about is avalanche safety gear, as in my mind, these are the prerequisites to going out and backcountry skiing, and are the tools that allow us to get out there and safely enjoy skiing and playing around in the snow. The first thing that we all must have is a transceiver. I use this Arva Advanced, which to be honest, I've had a number of years, and I need to do a search if the beacon technology has this one being antiquated. This is gonna be a receiver and a transmitter that allows us to find someone who might be buried in an avalanche, or for someone to find us. Definitely one of the most essential items out there. If you watch a lot of my videos, I do a ton of backcountry skiing solo, which comes with its own risks and it's its own discussion, but I am still wearing a beacon 99% of the time. In addition to the beacon, I think the next most important thing is a avalanche shovel. I've been using this black diamond one for a number of years that I have had since I was a kid, but last spring I did upgrade because I felt I needed a bigger surface area on the shovel, and I upgraded to this Mammut shovel. I forgot the exact name of this shovel, but it has a much larger shovel surface area. It actually wound up being lighter even with the bigger area, and it has a much more comfortable grip. This larger size not only helps with digging snow pits, but God forbid there is some accident. I was thinking about it in the spring, and I'd much rather have a partner with a bigger shovel that can get to me more quickly. I've also heard that the size shovel you want should be based on your kind of upper body strength and how much snow you feel comfortable moving per scoop. So this is something that you might want to look at that is dependent on the individual. In addition to a shovel, I'm also always carrying a probe. I'm using the Black Diamond Super Tour, and this is the tool that when you use your transceiver to find someone who's buried, you're gonna use this to find their body so you know exactly where to dig. When someone is caught in a slide, time is ticking, their amount of CO2 that they're breathing out is building up around them, so time is of the essence. The next thing I wanna mention is an inclinometer. This is kind of just a cheap bubble one that you can understand the slope of an angle, which is always handy to carry with you. But to be honest, most of the time when I'm looking at slope angles, I'm going to be using an app. There's a number of them out there. I'll recommend some down in the description for both iOS and Android. And then the other tool that I use in conjunction with these slope measurement tools, which I'm using kind of out in the field, is using CalTopo or Onyx to understand what the slope angle might be. Oftentimes this is done ahead of a tour, but these days I oftentimes will pull up a slope that I'm gonna be going on to understand what direction I might wanna move to stay out of any run out and just stay in the safest route possible. And the final thing when it comes to avalanche safety, it's all really about education. And that's why this is not a physical tool or piece of gear. Continuing your education about avalanche awareness through ARI courses, through just playing around in the snow, through reading reports from your local avalanche guides, or by reading a book like Staying Alive in Avalanche Country, to just kind of keep refreshing your avalanche skills and make sure that you're thinking about all the many variables that are involved in an avalanche and staying safe in the backcountry. With our avalanche safety gear covered, let's move on to the clothing that I'm using out in the backcountry. As we get started looking at my clothing for this year, I have to give a massive shout out to Mountain Hardwear for setting me up with their most technically advanced kit for backcountry skiing and getting on the skin track. I've had amazing experience with Mountain Hardwear gear. I actually recall my very first down jacket was a Mountain Hardwear jacket that lasted me 20 plus years, and I still think my parents have in a closet somewhere. And when I saw their new line really focus on backcountry skiing, I knew that this was gonna be a big upgrade in the gear that I've been using and kind of up-level my adventures. So I jumped at the chance to work with Mountain Hardwear this season. The thing I'll note is that I got this gear pretty recently, and I've only had on the skin track a couple times and a couple casual days of resort skiing. So stay tuned, and I'm gonna be making a much more in-depth video, really testing this stuff in the field. With that said, my base layers for this season are gonna be the Core Alloy tights and shirt from Mountain Hardwear. My base layers in the past have been pretty basic, but now we're gonna be upgrading to something a lot more techy. So the Core Alloy pants are extremely comfortable, and they are more stretchy than any base layer I've had. They're really cool because they have the insulation where you need them, kind of on your thighs and on your hamstring and glutes. But the part of your leg that's moving a lot more is this thinner, more breathable material. In the past, I've really struggled with my layering underneath my ski pants. I have a really thick pair of base layers and a very thin one, and feel like I'm always too hot or cold. So I'm really excited to have these that kind of mix those two, that are putting the insulation where you need it while still maintaining mobility for the skin track. To pair with those pants, I have the Core Alloy Crew jacket here, which is a synthetic jacket that is perfect for those very sweaty uphills. This jacket, like the kind of insulated parts of the pants, is using a Primaloft insulation that's really kind of targeted to where you want that on the body. And on the few times I've had this set up on the skin track, I've found them extremely breathable. A few other features I really love about this jacket is it has awesome pockets. It has one kind of chest mounted pocket, and it also has this awesome kangaroo pocket. For someone who's often fiddling around with cameras in the wind, to be able to put both of my hands in that kangaroo pouch to warm them up in between shots is amazing and something I've never had. Overall, I'm stoked on this combo, and the warmth to weight ratio of this is gonna far exceed anything I've ever used in the past. But with the base layers covered, let's talk about my new outer layers for this season. For my outer layers, I'm gonna be using the Mountain Hardwear high exposure bib and shell combo. I'm someone who prefers lighter weight outer layers and likes to manage my temperature with proper layering underneath, and these both do that perfectly. Both the pants and the jacket are Gore-Tex C-Knit 30 denier fabric, and these things feel bomber, yet they are still lightweight and they're breathable and packable, which is something that I really care about when I'm on the skin track. For example, when I'm skiing bigger objectives, I rarely have my shell on, but when I need it, I really need it. So something that's a little lighter weight that packs down more easily is a huge advantage to anything that's thicker, that's kind of harder to fold up or has insulation on it. So overall, the weight of this shell is perfect. I'll also note that the zippers on this jacket feel incredible, and the two front pockets almost look like waterproof zippers. And this jacket also has two of the biggest pit vents I've ever seen, which is someone who's always trying to regulate their temperature is completely essential. My final notes are, I love that this has two large interior pockets that are the perfect size to fit your skins inside. And I also will say that the kind of seam lines and the seam welds inside look really, really well done. In terms of the pants, these might actually have me switching to Team Bib, as they are the best fitting bibs that I've ever tried on. Again, like the jacket, they're that kind of perfect weight Gore-Tex for me, super waterproof yet lightweight. They have great pockets with really nice feeling zippers that look like they're waterproof. But the big thing that I was impressed with these pants is that they fit so well. Unlike most bibs, these do come in short, regular, and long length sizes. As someone with a shorter inseam, this is a major deal, and because of that, these fit a lot better than any bib I've ever used. And unlike some bibs where the shoulder straps kind of always are coming off to the side, I've found that the way the shoulder straps sit on me here are super comfortable, and I don't have any slippage. Overall, this high exposure pants and jacket combo is kind of perfect for my needs. And also will say it's the perfect outfit for some of my favorite days where I go and ski at the resort in the morning and hit the skin track on the way home. With this outfit, I don't need to change anything besides my boots, when previously I would be throwing off and on a ton of different layers. In terms of sizing, I did a small for both the base layer pairs and the shell and bibs, and they fit perfectly. Like I mentioned earlier, having the short bibs is a game changer for someone with a shorter inseam, and the small is fitting me perfect. And for context, I'm 5'9" and around 160 pounds. The only thing I'll say is the base layer tights are a little tight on my more muscular legs. So that's the one item I might have done a medium on in retrospect. I think these are gonna be perfect outer layers for the skin track as well as hitting the slopes. And later in the season, let's see how they perform out on the field. If you want to learn more about this gear, check out the links in my description. And a massive thanks to Mountain Hardwear for outfitting me for better gear for some of these epic adventures. Before we get to the skis and hardware, I got to go over some of the accessories I'm using. In terms of gloves, oftentimes on the skin track, I'm just using these Scott gloves that are ancient. I don't even know where they came from. They're a little bit lighter weight and they get the job done. However, when it's colder, I'm using my main kind of resort gloves, which are Hestras. These things last for absolutely ever. They're super dexterous and they just feel really good in the hand and they fit really well. So these are something I'm going to be bringing out for those longer days when it's really cold. For headwear, I did a big upgrade last spring and I got the Smith Summit helmet. This is their touring specific helmet that is much lighter weight with really good ventilation. And I found myself not bringing my old helmet as much as I probably should have because it was awkward to pack and too heavy. Now that I have this, it's easy to strap on the outside of my pack. It actually has two bungees here that you just put two carabiners through, allowing it to sit on the outside. And with this, I just bring it almost every day. I'm of the mindset that anything that's going to increase your safety is well worth the investment. So I'm happy to be rocking this. It also only weighs 14 ounces, which is definitely not the lightest helmet out there, but plenty light where I'm not worried about taking it on the longer days. In terms of socks, once I started using these LeBent backcountry specific socks that I think they made with Cody Townsend, I have not used anything else. They have this grippy rubber material right on the back of your calf that prevents them from slipping down, as well as on your heel to keep them kind of locked in on the uphill. And I found that coupled with whatever material they're using just perfect for the backcountry. In terms of goggles, I'm using some Smith goggles that are also my daily driver at the resort. I don't know which ones these are. I've had them for ages. They continue to work well. Got a couple lenses and don't need anything else at this time. With that, I've covered kind of all the main things I'm bringing. So let's talk skis, boots, and kind of the hardware elements. For skis, I have nothing new to share from last year. I am still using the Black Crow Navis Freebird as my daily driver. These things have just been absolutely bomber for any condition out here in Colorado. And it's a ski that I can have fun on the skin track in the middle of the winter when there's some powder, but also something that has the stiffness, the weight, and the camber that I want on those steeper couloirs in the springtime. These babies are absolutely perfect as a one quiver option. I have them paired with the ATK Freerider 14, which is definitely a beefier binding, but I just wanted to fully trust this ski no matter the conditions. And these skis have just performed amazingly. The only negative to say is they do have more of that traditional camber profile. They don't have as much rocker, so they're not gonna float as much in powder. And the one new ski I wanna get for this year, or maybe next year, is something wider and something with more rocker for those really deep powder days. To pair with these, I'm still rocking the K2 Dispatch Pro. It was a long search to find the right boot for me, but in the end, these things are performing really well for the weight. They're fun skiing on the way down, which is something that's essential for me. And most importantly, they fit my foot shape really well. A lot of people ask me about boots, but in the end, this is one of those things that it's so hard to do online. I recommend you go find a good boot fitter, find the boot that fits your foot best versus the one with the specs that you like the best. As I've learned the hard way, trying to jam myself into boots that didn't fit well. And with backcountry boots, they don't have a lot of material that you can shave away, that you can punch out, that you can mold. So it's really hard to get them fitting well if they don't fit pretty good off the get-go. Alongside the Black Crow with the Dispatch Pro, I am still rocking this Dynafit Blacklite 95 with some Scarpa F1 boots for my super light setup. So this is the setup that I've kind of used in the springtime when I'm hiking a long ways with skis on my back. And I just want a boot and a ski that's lighter weight for those really long distances. Overall, I've found myself using the Black Crow Navis more in sacrificing the weight of the boots and the skis on the uphill for a little bit more fun skiing on the downhill. As in the end, as much as I like the uphill, I'm there to have a really fun ski descent. And I've found that the weight sacrifice is often worth it. But these definitely have their time and place. As I said, I pair these with the Scarpa F1. This is an amazing performing boot for the weight. I still absolutely love these boots. They're super comfortable and I don't plan on getting rid of them for a long time, but definitely a little bit less performant, a little bit less stiff than those K2 ones. For skins, I'm on Team Pomoka, and luckily both of these skis come with Pomoka skins that are cut to length, which just makes everything more convenient. These skins perform great. I've never seen anything better, so I'm sticking with those for now. In terms of poles, I'm using the Black Diamond Expedition 3 pole here. These are nice because they are 3-piece, which is oftentimes not needed for backcountry skiing. But in the springtime, when I'm trying to pull out an ice axe or two, being able to make these shorter and get on my pack is definitely really nice. And they've just continued to work for me. See no reason to change it up. The only thing to note is the Expedition 3 is not Whippet compatible. And I really do need to get a Whippet for those slopes that are not quite steep enough for me to pull out my ice axe, but still steep enough that I might slip to my death if I fall. So that's definitely on the shopping list. In terms of climbing tools, the Petzl Goalie is my go-to axe. This thing just does it all. It's super lightweight. I don't mind having it on my pack. I always bring it when I think I might need it, and again, am not sacrificing a ton of weight. My intent is to get a second goalie, but for now, when I do need 2 axes for really steep couloirs, I'm busting out my Black Diamond Raven, which is more of a mountaineering axe, but when you need 2 axes, any axe is better than no axe, so this really rarely makes it out. In terms of pointy things on my feet, I've also made a massive upgrade, and I've bought the Black Diamond Neve Pro crampons. These are aluminum and probably a quarter the weight of my old steel crampons, and for those long spring objectives, that extra weight makes a massive difference, and they also take up a lot less room in my pack. Aluminum crampons are all I need because I'm mostly on snowfields and going up couloirs. And for organizing all this gear, I'm using 2 main packs. For my more casual tours, I'm still using this Black Diamond Nitro 22, which has just been an incredible pack. It has a great compartment for glasses and little things up top. It's lightweight, it's extremely comfortable around the hips, especially when skiing. It's got big water bottle pockets, which I love for access to water. The 22 liters is perfect for me for that average backcountry day. And the last thing I really love about this backpack is it has a huge put whatever you want in pocket. Oftentimes, this is the pocket where I'm gonna be having my shell or any layers I'm taking on and off, just shoving in and out. And it makes it so I don't have to open the whole pack every time. So absolutely love that feature. And for my bigger days where I need more space, I am rocking the Osprey Mutant 38 liter. This thing is only 38 liters, but it feels much bigger. I've actually taken this on overnighters before, and there's plenty of room for an overnight kit. Overall, it's a great pack for climbing, ski mountaineering, and general mountain adventures. That is my gear for this season. As you can see, I have a lot of new toys to play with. And let me know if you see anything that I'm missing, and I will catch you on a ski adventure video one of these days soon.